Hello everyone, welcome to my show. This is my first pilot episode of my little ranty stuff. It'll get better with time, don't worry. Mostly, my name is Sam, I'm your host here, and I like to talk about a whole host of stuff. So if you really like that, and you really enjoy that kind of content, you know what? Just hit subscribe, let me know, comments, the whole shebang, you know. So welcome to my show. Hope you guys are drinking water. It's a scorcher today where I'm at. It is about 90 something degrees out and had to turn off my fan so it could be heard all right. So I'm putting it through for you guys. Main thing here, I would love to start about YouTube hyperfocuses. One nice thing I like about YouTube is that the algorithm caters to your hyperfocus with enough time, and you can train it to keep wanting, to keep giving you stuff that you want. So one of my I'm not sure how I fell down this rabbit hole of things, is my favorite topics to watch and read about is creepy or horror video games. And I know myself, I don't actually play a lot of video games anymore. I just don't have the systems for it, or because they're so pricey. So much for a new console, I swear. Or I just don't have the time or something like that. It's a very expensive hobby to have. However, I still played a lot of them growing up, and I still have games I play a lot too. And none of my games are really that scary, usually, or they have pretty much no consequence to failure in the game, and that's a very nice comforting thought. However, I love to hear about video games that have creepy or horror aspects. Something about that just clicks to me, and it's amazing to watch. So one of my favorite things I love is, because I've written pieces about this too, is a great example into the horror genre that isn't all jump scares and things like that, because I find jump scares in horror flicks and games to be kind of cheating. They're not very an effective way of horror. Personally, I don't like them a whole lot. It's a cheap scare, and I don't really like that. I love the build of horror, especially in lore or as you're going through it and you find just the, I don't know, the building thought of everything. There's something about when something clicks and the story and narrative kind of starts clicking into itself, and you're looking back at old chapters of something and you're like, oh, that was foreshadowing. That gets me every time. A great example I have of this is Bendy and the Ink Machine, which I've written articles on in this bit. And what I love about that, despite not playing it, is that it's very subversive in its horror. Of course, it's very creepy in the aspect of death and things like that, and turning a very beloved sort of it's clearly looking like the big guys over at Smizme. No correlation to Disney. And the animation styles and things like that. To think of how it could go wrong is so interesting to me. So what I love about that is it's the more and more you go into Bendy and the Ink Machine, because I'm not going to ruin everything, the more you go into it, the more you find lore about it, and the more you find recordings of the animators and just how things spiraled down. And then all these little hints and nuggets that they left you really just builds into something way worse. And I love that build up in a lot of stuff. It makes great for replayability or rewatchability of content and media, especially if you want to show someone else the horror show that you've been watching, and then you can see all the hints along the way. It just makes it 1,000 times better. And another great one, which I love personally, and I revisit every few months or so, I don't know why I keep doing it, but it just drags me in every time, is exploring the deep lore and hidden content of games like Doki Doki Literature Club. And Doki Doki Literature Club sounds pretty harmless, but if you've been around YouTube enough or know about horror games in general, you know that it's not harmless as it sounds. And I'm not going to spoil a lot of the great aspects of the game because, frankly, I love it so much. And one of my favorite things to do every few months is to play it again and introduce it with a friend. So I'll read the voices out loud and do fun little voices for everybody and just watch for their reaction as the game slowly develops into what it's supposed to be. So one of my favorite aspects, man, my favorite bit of this game is the idea that horror doesn't have to be gross or jump scares or gory, even though I love gore personally, but I don't like jump scares. It doesn't have to be cheap. It can be very nuanced, and I love that. So this game is very nuanced in its intentions of horror. It starts out very lovely, very peaceful, but quite quickly you realize it's not all what it's cracked up to be. And one of my favorite portions of this game too that I want to talk about is the fact that there's little bits in there that you can very easily oversee as a player for the first time or even on your second time. You can absolutely miss some details in there that really start to hint things at you and especially set the tone for creepier stuff along the way. And that's what I really love about submersive horror. It's very quiet about its horror until it's not. And by that point, you're already aware it's a horror game. And what you want to do as the engaging person playing it, you want to explore it. And it's so much fun. Like, it's one of my favorite things to go through with that kind of stuff. So, music. The music portion of the game, it starts out cheerful and sweet and very nice. And I honestly do like that. It starts out as a normal dating sim, or, ones where you have cute anime girls. And so it starts out upbeat and sweet, and there's multiple instruments being played. 1 second, there's a motorcycle. Okay, motorcycle gone. There's all these musics getting played, and you can tell there's different instruments in the main soundtrack. And even now, every once and again, I hear the song in its original way, and it just terrifies me like, oh, no, 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 no. Like, that's how you know you've hit good horror, when just the music playing freaks somebody out, and that's amazing to me. And in the music, you can see different instruments being played. An instrument is usually correlated to one of the girls that you can woo in the game. Or you can't woo, really depends on how the game works. And so you can hear their specific, it's the same song, but it's in their specific instrument. And if you pay close enough attention to songs and, take a breather, maybe you stepped away from the computer for a second or got distracted and you just had to call somebody, check your email, something like that, and had to step away. If you listen to the music enough, especially in early parts, you can just hear it loop and you think, oh, it's looping, it's great, it's fine. And then you'll hear it skip a weird way. And you can't unhear that skip because it's not right. And maybe if you heard it once, you were thinking, okay, maybe the game just kind of freaked out for a second. That makes sense. This will happen. It's made by one person. It can happen. It's an oversight by the developers. When in reality, if you keep listening to it, it'll keep happening. And that's just one little audio cue that helps the reader and the player just kind of feel a little off hinge and like something might be up. And I love that kind of horror. It absolutely speaks of a lot of effort being put into a game and a lot of something that just stick with you. This is why I keep revisiting it every few months or so. There's so much hidden in this game that you can't unsee it and you can't unattach it from your brain afterwards. So I'll hear the music and then I'll be, next I know I'm watching something about the hidden content if you explore the character files, because that is another great way. It encourages exploration and it allows those dedicated players who have made a huge community around it to see and explore the game. And the more they explore, the more they find and the more curious stuff that they have to decode. The idea of making a game that you have to decode and finding more horror in what you decode is fantastic. I think that's the right way to go about human curiosity and fear. And even to this day, I still get kind of the creepies and the EEGBs about that game. And I love it. I do. I mean, like, best girl, Monica. I'm just saying. And, just Monica. I love her. And it's so great how the game sticks with you, because good horror sticks with people. Bad horror is just regarded as bad horror. And it's a part of being a horror fan. It's, a scary topic, and there's going to be a lot of bad movies and a lot of bad video games. That's just how it goes. But when you have a really good one, it stays with you for a long time. And this is one of those ones that just stays with me. And I can still admire the artistry and the effort that was put into these works of art, really. And I mean works of art liberally to say. However, you can tell it's a medium that had a lot of effort put in by developers and a lot of thought put into every aspect to make the best horror out of something you wouldn't expect horror in, or maybe you would, but to really subverse it is the best way to make it stick in the human brain, I think. So I'm reaching about, about 12 minutes now, so I will let you guys go now, and I'll be back posting next time. Hopefully I'll have a scheduling. I'm going to be working through these sorts of things to make sure I get an okay schedule out and work what works best and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for joining me. If you have your favorite horror game or why you love it, put it down in the comments. I appreciate anything that gets put down there, and I'd love to hear your feedback on those things. So, yeah, just let me know what's your favorite horror game and why. And I'd love to hear about these sorts of things. Who knows? Maybe I'll binge watch it. Otherwise, guys, have a great rest of your day or evening or morning or whatever. And have a great one. Bye.